Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and I'm going to give people some time here now to decide whether or not they want to stick around with the video. Yeah, I'm saying that already because there is going to be salt ahead. There's some stuff that I'm really unhappy about with, actually, so much so that I'm going to, try not to swear here in the beginning, because we're here to talk about Incursion raid, but we're not here to talk about the raid itself. In fact, actually, I don't think there's a whole lot wrong with, well... I won't go that far, but, I'm not having too much of an issue with it. You might have seen my video from the other day, and for the most part, I've actually been able to sim a lot of it, and that's really good. The problem is the reward side of things. It's downright horseshit. That's exactly what it is. We're going to go over these rewards, why they're so bad, and why, at the rate that you're going to get rewards in Incursion raid, it's going to take you 12 years to get into Dark Dimension 6. Now, if you want to know more about what this is all about, and of course in great old Boilon fashion, there's going to be some math and numbers associated with this horse shit, then stay tuned. So if you're ready to go, let's boil this down. Now, first off, we're going to be here in the orb section. So the Teal Epic Orb wasn't available when I did my video the other day, when I did my my first Incursion raid sort of game, if you want to call it gameplay, but, me simming. Anyways, it's here now. So it came in at 5 p.m. Pacific time, the Teal Epic Orb. And it's not really much different than what I was expecting from the Teal Elite Orb, which contained 16s and 17s. But, this is really, really important here because... well, let's take a look. So you get some gear on the side. It's not 5 of each of the origin pieces, and you get some catalysts in there. I think it's the same on both sides, in fact. And in the center, you get 2 of the G18 Minis, of which there are 10. There's 2 of each origin. So, again, nothing to be different of the Teal Elite Orb. It's pretty much the same thing for the G17s in the middle here. I'm actually... why does it say G6? Oh, yeah, I forgot. G16s is just this. That's why I got confused. Anyways... actually, it's not. Is it on the right side? Oh, yeah, there's a small chance for G16s in there. I forgot. It's mostly a G17 orb. Anyways, there's 2 guaranteed in here, just like the Teal Epic Orb is guaranteed in there. Now, the problem is the rewards. That's the problem, okay? And we're going to take a look at this really quick. I'm also going to compare this to Doom 2 and Doom 3 to the Incursion Raid 1. Now, it says Incursion Raid 1, so there's going to be an Incursion Raid 2, probably like sometime next year or some shit like that. But let's take a look. So, thankfully, I'm going to get to finishing this later. My alliance looks like they're probably on course to get a 60% at least. Now, there's a couple of things here before we get into the rewards and the breakdowns. It's not super clear. Actually, hold on, let's go back. What did that say? Raid difficulty is locked in one. Yeah, okay, so right here. It says complete normal difficulty to unlock. Now, if I'm up to par on my Scopely lingo, complete means 100%. I'm not 100% sure if that's the case, but I think that it is. So, which means that if that's the case, we're not getting to difficulty, nobody's getting to difficulty 1 unless you do a 100% completion, which it looks like mine's not until we start organizing a little bit better, if we do. Now, to get the first time rewards in difficulty 1 once you're there, it only requires 70% first time completions to get the rewards though. But if you notice, it still says complete difficulty 1 to unlock. I don't remember what the text said in Doom 3. I'm pretty sure it actually specified a threshold, like 60% at this difficulty to unlock the next one, which suggests that you might need 100% for each of these. Now, I'm not sure because it says the same text all the way down. What's funny, though, is that the first time rewards go up from 70 to 80 to 90 to 100, 100, and 100. So, honestly, I'm not sure. And maybe the threshold is 70%, but, I mean, maybe it's 60 here, and then it's 70, and then it's 80. Maybe it's something like that. I'm not sure. But it doesn't really matter that much because my biggest complaints actually doesn't have to do with getting to the next difficulty. It's that the rewards across the board are fucking garbage. They are awful. So let's take a look at 60%, because that's where I like to take a look at, because that's kind of where a lot of like non-hardcore alliances tend to like get to 60%. This seems to be quite common. Not quite 100, but 60. So what do we get in the base difficulty? We have, this is the same rewards actually in Doom 3, and then you get 12 Teal Gear Raid Orbs here, and then you get 4.5 Teal Elite Orbs, which is great. This is about the same, or maybe it's a little bit better actually than what I was doing in 3.4 Doom Raid. And then you get 600 Teal Epic Orb fragments. That's the problem. This is 1/3, actually less than 1/3 of a full orb. You need over 3 days at base difficulty, 60%, to get one orb, which is 2 G18 pieces. Let that sink in. That's 400k value, because they're 200k in the supply store. So that's 400k gold value in 3.5 days. Or 4 days, because technically you can't split it, right? It has to be 4 days worth of raids. That is absolute crazy. I don't know how I got to the 30%. That's even worse, right? At 400 fragments. Absolute disaster. 5 days at 30%. 3.5 days at 60%. And then it doesn't really... It goes up by 200. It's so garbage. And then if you look at the different difficulties as they go along, it improves by 400 fragments. 600 fragments. So to go from D1 to D2, you get 200 fragments more per threshold. D3, you get an extra 800. Okay, so it jumps a little bit from D2 to D3. And then from D3 to D4, it goes up another 800. And then another 800. And then another 800. So the biggest jump is going to be between D2 and D3. So to get to difficulty 3. Now, here's the thing though, is that how likely are we to get to difficulty 3? And this is where I want to show you this breakdown. We're going to look at that later. So I should scroll to the top. I want to compare the different raids. Okay, so we had Doom Raid 2, 60%. The Orange Elites were 22,500. This was actually quite common across the board. It was the same rewards. It was like 11.5. 11.25 Orange Elite Orbs. Not a big problem. There was only 3 difficulties. You had Teal Raid. This was like the initial, Teal Gear Orbs. 7,000, 9,000, 12,200 fragments, and 17,000 fragments at Doom 2.3. And then when we got to Doom 3, these are at the 60% levels, by the way, just because it's easier to keep track of. The Orange Elites are all the same. And then all the Teal Raids are the same at 21,000, which is a great jump over, Doom Raid 2.3. So even the base difficulty of Doom Raid 3 gave 21,000 Teal Raid Orb fragments, which was great. That was 10.5 orbs compared to the stuff that you get over here. And then it started at 2,000 Teal Elites. This was the G16 and 17. That's what I want to zoom in on. So you got one full orb at base difficulty Doom Raid 3 at 60%, and it scaled up from there every difficulty. So at a bare minimum, you were getting... Keep in mind, these gave the same amount of minis in the 17 category as the Teal Epic Orb does in the T18 category. So 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and then jump to 7,000 at difficulty 4. This is where I was anyways. Doom Raid 3.4, that was what I was running. But then if you happen to be running 3.5, you would get 9,000, so that's 4.5 orbs there. So depending on what you were getting, what raid you were running, you were either getting, like, for me, like I said, 3.5 orbs. That's about 7 minis per day, which was equivalent to 600, 900, almost like 1 million, because it's 150k times 7, which is about 1.05 million gold worth of G17 minis that I was getting per day. Okay, and remember what I said about the Epic Orb. That's 200k, so one Epic Orb is worth 400k gold. So let's go to Incursion Raid 60% and see how it scales down here. And you can see from the base difficulty, you're getting not even one orb at 60%. In fact, you don't even get one full Teal Epic G18 Orb until you get to difficulty 3. Incursion Raid 1.3 is when you get one full orb, which was equivalent to the base difficulty of the Teal Elite Orb. Okay, so one orb is worth 400,000 gold. Okay, what was this worth at over here at Doom Raid 3.3? 5,000. That's 2.5 orbs. So that's 5 G17 minis, and that was worth about 750k. So right off the bat, Doom Raid 3.3 was worth more value in gold for your minis that you might have spent in the supply store, hypothetically, of course, than Incursion Raid 1.3, which, should not be the case at all. One orb at 1.3. It's so fucking garbage. Even at the max difficulty, you're only getting 2. This is terrible. This is flat out terrible. Now, I want to throw a hypothetical situation to you guys, and I know it's going to be hypothetical, and I know what some of you guys are going to say. Boilon, there's other ways to get G18 minis. Yes, there are. like the supply store. I talked about that in a previous video. We're severely crunched on gold. This is a huge problem. But I want to throw this situation at you guys and kind of like go through this step by step so that you guys can, understand where I'm coming from. So let's talk about Dark Dimension 6. Let's talk about a hypothetical situation where you're gearing 20 characters up to gear tier 18. Let's say, because I don't know what characters you're going to bring, there may be new, better characters coming down the road, but let's just say, for sake of argument, a lot of the average characters are require 3, crafted pieces of the new gear tier. So let's just say that we have 20 characters, gear 18, who require 3 pieces. So that's 44 G18 minis per gear piece. That means it's 132 minis of that origin per character. Okay, just bear with me here. And so multiply that by 20, you get 2,640 minis that we need to gear, 20 average characters to gear tier 18. Okay? And then that's 1,320 Teal Epic Orbs, assuming that you get all the right pieces. Now, this is really unlikely, but, because it's 2 pieces per orb, that's the assumption that, it's 1,320 Teal Epic Orbs that you would need. Unlikely that you would get the right amount of materials that you need, but let's just say you did. Let's just say you got super lucky. And so that's a lot of orbs. Now, when you're only... this is the crazy part, actually. 4,400 is the number of days required at the Incursion Raid base difficulty to get 1,320 orbs. 4,400 days if you were just running Incursion Raid 1. Or whatever, the base difficulty. That's 12 years doing this every single day to get 600 fragments at 60%. Of course, this assumes that you do not buy any G18 out of the supply store or receive it elsewhere, like the stupid event leaderboards that are going on, or that's soon to happen this week, actually. But my point stands that in comparison to the other raids at their tier, this orb is garbage. The orb is garbage, but also the amount of fragments that you're getting out of the raid is atrocious. It's an abomination. That's what it is. So one of 2 things need to happen. Either the fragments on the Incursion Raid need to be boosted ASAP, something more in line of what we saw in Doom Raid 3. This is going to be really important. So just to recap here, something like a minimum of 1 orb at the base difficulty, and it goes up like this, like 1,000 per thing. And that's not going to break the economy. Why? Because we need more G18 minis than we did from 17. Because it's 22-22 instead of 18-18, I believe it was, for 17. So you require a net more amount of G18s than G17s to get this gear done. So, having this 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and so on is not going to break the game. Now, or the other thing needs to happen, more gold in the economy to buy G18s from the supply store. Now, remember when I did this video, maybe it was even 2 videos ago, honestly, because I said don't buy G18 minis. That things would be fine, that the Incursion Raid Orb would be good, and that we'd be getting the same amount of stuff as we did from Doom Raid 3. I was wrong. I will say that flat out right now. I was wrong, at least that we are not getting as much G18 minis as I expected. Is it a good idea now to buy G18 minis? It might be. But the problem is the gold still, so that doesn't change. My issue with the gold still hasn't changed. We're still having a severe crunch. We're not really seeing much more gold, to compensate for all of these things that require gold, the gold events that are intended to gouge us in the eye. There's just not a lot to go around. So the question is, should you buy G18 minis? I don't know. I mean, that's really up to you and your priorities for Dark Dimension 6. Given what I'm seeing right now in the Incursion Orbs and how many you're getting, the Incursion Raid Orbs and how many you're getting per day, yeah, you might need to. But is there enough gold to do this? No, there isn't. There still isn't. That I'm still standing by that we as the player base are getting bent over backwards when it comes to gold. And now we're still doing this. We're getting bent over backwards for G18 orbs in the Incursion Raid, making it feel like it's really not worth doing at all. Because I might as well just, I don't know, save my gold and just buy it from the store. To be honest, I can't stress this enough. Like this here, daily, at Incursion Raid 1.3 is worth 800k gold. 800k gold, that's it. And the same stuff that I would have already got from Doom Raid 3. Yep. So yeah, it's not a huge improvement in my opinion. It's just not enough. It's just not enough. We need more gold in the economy to buy G18s from the supply store. They're currently selling us G18s in the leaderboard for events, which is trash. So I just want to kind of end on that note, is that we're starting to see this. This is the, what is this event called? It's supposed to start like today or something. Anyways, it's this gear thing with the war. What the hell is this? The Geared for Glory, which is supposed to start soon. And I wanted to zoom in a little bit more, but I'm sure that you guys can see it down here. At the 1% level, you get 11 Mystic Minis, G18 Minis, of both. That's 22 total at 1%. Nobody else gets it, but people in the the top 500 category get a fair bit more. Not a ton, but a fair bit more. And it's not even so much that this is new. Because G17 was new when the other raid came out. When Doom Raid 3 came out, G17s were new too. And they were not that bad. Like, it was still not great, but it was still way better than what we're getting down here in Teal Epics in the Incursion raid. It's flat out garbage, and it makes me not want to play. And honestly, it's super disappointing, because I was looking forward to Incursion raids to maybe change how I thought about Marvel Strike Force, but the way things are going, I don't know how much long I have for this game. Raids were one of my top things. A lot of you who follow my channel probably know that raids were one of my top things that I like to do in this game and look forward to. And after, I don't mind the actual raid itself, but it's the rewards that make this fucking awful. It's an abomination, and they need to do something about that. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe nobody cares. Who knows? But I'm just on my soapbox because I think this is absolutely ridiculous, and somebody needs to say something. That's the end of this video, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.